I've got this back off. I've been thinking about it. I've got a feeling there might be something wrong with this carby here. I'm not putting those little O-rings back in there. They don't go there. There's no way. I'll put the thick ones, but the ones that I put inside it, I don't know where I got that from or why I did it, but I'm sure it's a mistake. There's not supposed to be an extra O-ring inside that O-ring. I don't know where I got that idea from, but yeah, I'm barring that. But yesterday I took these float bowls off here, right? I took them all off and had a look. They were clean. And just last night I was thinking about it, and from memory I think this one was like full to the brim and the others weren't. That could be a problem. It may be overfilling. So I'm just going to pop these back off and check that. So much for that idea. They were all half full. I don't know why I thought that, but anyway, I have to think of something else. Realistically, carbies are pretty... People think they're complicated. They're not. All you got to do is make sure everything's clean, and that's it. Anyway, and everything's in correctly. Anyway, I don't think it's the carbies. I'm just going to have a break off this for a bit. I'm just not sure what's going on. Like, I'm getting spark, but for some reason it's not firing in the hole. Now, that can happen. It's weird, but I even poured some starcher bastard down the bloody thing and give it a quick fire, and it didn't make any difference. I know it's getting fuel. I can see the fuel in there. Back on this thing, I've left those cylinders, spark plugs out overnight. I just want to dry those cylinders out. I'm going to put the plugs back in, and I will wind it over and just make sure that fuel's all good. I'm pretty 99.9% sure there's nothing wrong with the carbies, but that doesn't mean this gasket here was never replaced. It didn't come in the kit, so I just left it there. There may be an air leak there. That could possibly cause that to not start. So I'm also, this morning I'm going to drop the oil out of it. I want to just make sure the oil looks good. If it looks good, I'll put it back in. And good news on the oil, there's no coolant in the oil. That's what I wanted. I think last night I was thinking, don't tell me something's bad with this engine, but that's a good sign. There's no coolant in the oil. So I'm thinking it's this seal here. Like, I can see the guy, it's got that red silicon stuff there. Looks like it's this stuff or something similar to that. So they've pulled that apart and they've had to put that red stuff there to seal that. I'm thinking there might be a slight air leak in here. Like a leak down test will tell me that, but I think I'll just get that thing on the way. Like, I'm going to have to buy that. I don't think I can make that. I may be able to, but I didn't pull that apart. That's the only thing, strictly the only thing I didn't pull apart is that. I've cleaned it out as best as I can. But I've got a feeling that's possibly, that could, if that was leaking in here, that could stop that from firing. I'm going to put this oil back in for now. I'll be getting ditched soon, but just for now I'll keep it in this engine. There's nothing wrong with it, it's still clean. I am going to dump this oil once it's been running for about 20 minutes, and then I'll put new oil in it and a new filter. Saturday here, is it 11 o'clock, 11 a.m. and there's nothing on the floor. That's what I want. I want this floor clean, nothing dripping. So what I've come up with this car, the only thing that I haven't changed, I probably said it earlier, the only thing I haven't changed is that gasket there. That's the only thing I haven't changed. And someone's worked on that. I've said it, I'm sure I said it earlier, it's got that red silicon in there. If there's an air leak there, it'll stop it from firing. But I have this part here, I don't know what it's called, but without that hooked up, the fuel pump doesn't operate properly. So I had a guy message me And he said that this car won't run right unless it's hooked up to the fuel pump. It's got to be a certain pressure. And I was thinking that, and I asked one of my mates what he thought about that, and he seems to think that's not the case. So either way, whatever it is, I'm putting the body on. I can't just. There's nothing wrong with it. The carbies are perfect. I've gone right over them. It's getting spark. It's got fantastic compression. It'll go. It will go. And I've got a feeling that once this is hooked up properly, this thing's hooked up. We've got the fuel pump with the correct fuel pressure. If it still doesn't run right, I'll change that. I've got that gasket coming. I was going to have a crack at making it, but it's pretty intricate. I'm just going to buy it from Ortman's, and I can change that when it's in the car. But we'll see. So what I'm actually going to do now, take the battery can probably sit there, but I'm taking all this rig here off because I don't need it now. The body's going on. I'll take this fuel thing off, but I'm just going to use these wheels for now, just so I can wheel it around. But one of them tyres has had it, so I'm going to have to track down a tyre. I just won't be able to push it around, that's all. And for me to get this over to the hoist, I've got to move everything out of the shed. Not that car there, not the cowl, or not the little Civic, but all the motorbikes, the bus, all the cars. So I've got to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars, 3, 4 motorbikes, the bus, and this to get this over there. So I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll work either way. It's not a big problem. We'll get it to go. I've got a feeling that once that's sorted, once it's all hooked up correctly, it should run right. Like I said, if it doesn't, the first thing I'll do is change that. I'll have that here by then anyway. I've moved this stuff here, that goes over there on the skirt of the car on the left hand side. I've just tucked this the starter wire, that's the coil wire, I've just tucked that out of the way. That's it, I've got the wheels on it. They're not the wheels we're staying on it, these are just to get it over there. I think we want to get a nice set of Watanabes, really nice traditional Japanese mag wheels. And now we've got those wide rims, I don't mind them, but I don't mind the skinny ones either. I really don't care. But they're not staying on it, that's for sure. Anyway, there's a bit of a momentous occasion. This car's going on the ground. Just jack it up and move these stands out of the way. That thing's been sitting on these stands ever since I brought it in here. And it's been sitting on these stands for longer than that. Since I've pretty much pulled it off the... Slowly let that down. Whoa, man. She's low. I think that needs winding up, that suspension. She's a bit too low. Okay, I learned something then. This torsion bar needs adjusting by a lot. I'll move this bolt around and see how that goes. Otherwise I may have to move this arm. Okay, the little car's on the ground. And it even moves. Moves easy. That's something it hasn't done for a long time. Yeah. It's raining at the moment, and I just heard thunder before. I'm not moving it today, but yeah, sometime this week, everything's getting moved out of here. I just measured it. I spin it around, it will fit through that gap. I don't have to move the cowl. But obviously the bus, all that other crap's got to go. I've got to do a little bit of work to that silver car this week. Peugeot. And put a new Apple CarPlay, stereo, whatever they call them, backup camera, the whole, it's all built in one. Got to put that on there. Everything's got to get moved out. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with this car. But yeah, that's got to come off. That's coming with us to Sydney. The ute's got to get moved. This thing's got to get put up there. And the chassis has got to get wheeled underneath there. This thing here is, out of everything, this is the worst thing to move. Anyway, Now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this vehicle. We'll see. I wouldn't mind putting the transmission out of this in the cowl. It's never been done as far as I know. It'll be behind a Holden 304. But that's an 8-speed ZF gearbox. Yeah. Just the gearbox in that car alone is worth 10 grand. Anyway, I'm happy to have this thing on the ground. I wish I had nice wheels on it, but it doesn't matter. We'll get them when the time's right. When we're just looking for the right 2012 Peugeot 508. It's got to have a new, I think they call it an entertainment system or something. That thing. So we're going to have to pull it out. I've got another something we can put in there. It's supposed to fit this car. It's supposed to be plug and play. We'll see. We could get these apart. You got to just pry that out. And I'm going to probably need 2 hands. Yep, that thing does just lift out. It's a bit weird, but it does pull out. There's a couple of torque screws there, and that pulls this cover off. Just pull them out. Now this piece here, you undo those torque screws, and you've got to lever it out. It doesn't feel like it wants to come, but it does. It's not hooked up to anything. That's just a vent. Yeah, it really feels like it's going to bust when you pull that out. Now, 4 torque screws, pull that out, and I'm hoping it's just plug and play this thing. I don't really want to stuff around with it. Right, they're off. Pull that out. I'm just got to unplug that. I'm definitely going to have to do 2 hands, but pull that off. I've got the fuse out of this, so I'm going to put the fuse back in. And tomorrow I'll take this over to my son's workshop and put it on their scan tool. They've got one of the $20,000 snap-on scan tool that'll remove the code. Mine, it probably won't do it. Put that off. They do just pull out. It doesn't feels like everything on these French cars. You think it's going to bust. I think I've got to take this out now. You just push these things in. That pops out. That there. And there's more torque screws in there. Pull that out. I'll probably have to start this thing and move this gear lever out of the way. We'll see. The old bezel, you've got to take this stuff here off and put it on the new part. You just sort of flick the burnt stuff off and secure that to that. The thing they don't tell you is this thing doesn't fit back on. The screws are behind it. So I've cut that out of there. I've had to modify this just to get the thing to go on. There we go. Peel that. I'll peel that off later. It's just got to peel that off. Just got to test the aerial. Normally, this doesn't fit back on. We had to modify that to get that on. Because the screws that hold this on are behind that, and it does not go in there. It doesn't fit. Anyway, we got it on, and it's very neat. So that's done. This car's going out. Here we go. So we're going to erase this code. Erase code. Enter. Yes. Erase done. Press any key to continue. What else is there? I think that's it. Pull this out, see if it works. Keep going. Oh, that's good. Bloody thing worked. I've used it a fair bit, but every time it seems different. Anyway, the code's gone. That's what we want. I seem to have lost some of the footage on that, but yeah, it's erased the code. It works on some cars and doesn't work on others. Like my mother's got a Hyundai, it's fairly new. He doesn't like talking to that. But anything, you know, sort of old, it does that. I've got half a dozen of these different types. That's the best one. I've got one of them old snap-on ones too. Someone would have paid a fortune for it when it was new. Anyway, that's all fixed, that car, so that's going out the door. I think I've showed you, is my bike. That's one of them anyway. That's my favourite one. I've had this thing since new. It's a 2000 model. 24 years old, that bike. A very nice looking bike for that age. Just kicking the guts. Need to give it an oil change, and got another rear caliper I want to change, so I want to put a better rear caliper on it. I bought it ages ago, just haven't got a chance to put it on. Pretty cool bike. Well, what I'm going to do this afternoon is I want to get this thing out of here. I want to put my bike back in here and move this back around. I'm hoping that I can squeeze this through that gap between that car there and the corner of that cupboard. So that stuff's got to get moved. These bikes, I should be able to go down beside the bus. So if I have to move it, I will, but I could feel I can squeeze through there. We'll see. Looks like I won that bet. Didn't even need the jack. Just pull it back across again. I can just pull that back across. It's just that light. I just pull it across myself. Easy as. Thought it might have been a little bit hard, but I knew it would fit through there. I measured it. Now I got this out. Maybe one day this week, before I go to Sydney, that body's going to be on that car. So that's good. I can just park it over here. I'll finish moving all this stuff back around. I'll give it a bit of a sweep. It's good. Drag it out. I've got to do a few things to it before that goes up there. You move this out. I want to get this body on. It doesn't look too bad. We'll keep it covered up. You forget what it looks like. I haven't really looked at the back of it properly. One thing I've got to do, I've got to loosen this. I've got to loosen the steering shaft so it moves back. That's one thing I want to get done. It's first time to set side by side when they're ready to go. With the bonnet, the boot and the doors on it and the windscreen and all that, it's just too heavy to lift by just a couple of guys. Anyway, I'll get in and first thing I want to do is do something with this steering shaft. There's the coil and the resistor hooked up, all wired. I'm pretty sure that wire there goes to the positive on the resistor. I've just left that wire there hanging off. That's the one I had there, but I'll wait till I check and make sure that is the right wire. That's all ready to go. I've slid this back. This actually can slide forward and back. So you just pull that back like that, I presume, when you go to hook the body up. Although I don't want to take that right out, it's a pain. And that's that. Now I'm going to use this as a hook on each side. And just hope the extra weight of the boot, lid, doors and boot and the whatever doesn't make any difference. Pretty sure we had the windscreen on. Maybe not. I can't remember. Anyway, it is going to weigh more than it did. I've just got to get two hooking points at the front here that I want to use. I really don't want to take the bonnet off. It's got it all lined up. I'm thinking... Yeah, anyway, I'll figure something out. We'll get that sorted. We're just going to give this a lift and see what happens. I've got the rope going in and out of there. I'll be able to cut it out of there later. And I've got it over there where I said I was going to lift it. And we'll just see. We've got the chassis ready at the back. I was thinking of taking all the panels and stuff off, but I'm just going to lift it and take the weight and see if anything moves. If any of these gaps look like they're moving, I'll put it straight back down and I'll take the doors off, put those stays there. I just don't think it needs it. Anyway, here's the chassis here, ready. I'll give it a quick lift and we'll see what happens. Out of there yet. Go a bit higher. A bit more stressful. This out now.
The brakes off.
Right, now just check, is this going to be high enough? Looks like it's still going to go up. Yeah, could go up a bit higher. Pretty stressful.
It's a floating car.
Wouldn't be one of these bloody things that wasn't stressful.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's got to go up more. And those wheels are pointing the wrong way. G4. That's fairly close there. Now the back's got to come across, I believe. It's over here. I might have to take the whole steering column out. That back looks pretty good to me. Right, I'll come back down a little bit more. I'm going to guide this in with a podger at the back. Where is it? Right, that's good. Come down a bit more. These are some of these mounts. Far out. That's very stressful, man.
Very.
I'll do this one first. Oh no, we'll do the back ones. I'm going to push that fucking steering column back in. Okay, she's back on the chassis. All the bolts line up. I've put 2 bolts in the front lower the lower tyre rail. That's what we call the bottom of the radiator mount. They're in, and the back line up, all the bolts line up. Pretty happy. So this is the next stage of this job. I'm going to go around and put all the bolts in, and then I'll tighten them all up. I'll put the steering column in, fuel tank. That's what I want to do tomorrow. Hook up the fuel tank, the steering column, bolt all the floor on. It's towing in at the front, so I've got to realign the front end. Basically, I don't know if that hope that lined up then. It sits a little bit low at the front, but that's nothing. These are fully adjustable, these cars. If anything, it's high at the back. I don't know if you can lower the back. Maybe you can lower the front a lot. She looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the little car. What I'm going to do is put it up on the hoist, but not right now. Right now I'm calling it a day. Anyway, I'll knock that into a video and show you what's happened. The car's back in one piece. Thanks for watching.